to let the good people of Ghana know the state of the voting, and also let the press be aware of where we are now. Voting started in all the 10 regions and across the 28,998 polling stations nationwide. The voting time, we all know, is 7 a.m. However, we have had certain challenges, and as and when we are faced with a particular challenge, some of them we had already put in place measures to address them. Others too, when they actually faced up, we address the issues. We have had reports from all the 10 regions, and in some of the regions there were reports of voting starting a little bit after 7. We all know this is an irregularity, and there are certain challenges associated with not opening voting centers at 7 exactly. In some of the areas, the officials were late. Others, the security men were also late. And in some cases, some of the election materials that are supposed to be placed in the ballot boxes were inadvertently not sent. So these are some of the challenges. Definitely you may have to wait for a security man. You may also have to wait for the presiding officer who will be carrying the ballot boxes to the voting centers. And if per chance, probably very critical materials like validating stamp and tampering pad are not in the ballot box, definitely you cannot actually start the voting process. So we have an example of Bekwai, which we have a validating stamp they forgot. But the most important thing is that all these election materials, normally we have backups at the district offices. So immediately there is such a challenge, the challenge is immediately addressed. So currently, all polling stations that are without election officials, those who were absent, and those which inadvertently we had one or two materials not in the box, we have hurriedly replaced all these election materials, and voting is currently going on smoothly. In areas where we did not have security men, we also got in touch with the police administration, and the police administration had actually done very well by detailing security men to these police stations. In relation to some missing names on the voters register, we have received reports of some voters whose names are not in the register, and they claim that they were deleted as part of the NHIS registrants. And we all remember the Supreme Court's order that all names registered using the NHIS cards should be deleted. So all affected persons were given 2 opportunities to register. They also have registered during the continuous voter registration exercise, which we did, and they could have also taken the advantage of the exhibition period to get their names included in the voters register. So those people were given very good opportunities to have their names back on the register. Unfortunately, they did not do that. And the basic principle is this: once your name is not on the register, you cannot exercise your franchise. It boils down to the fact that some people are also having their names on the name reference list, their names on the constituency book and other things, but the names cannot be found in the register. It is the same process, or it is the same challenge. The most important thing is during exhibition, every voter who registered should get to the exhibition center to find out whether his or her name is on the voters register. With the absence of our officials, yesterday, for instance, the chairperson made mention of the fact that the commission trained some standby officials. So these officials were made to replace those who were absent for one or two reasons. We also have reports from German North that parties' disagreement on the polling station register, and this has actually held up voting in German North. But the parties are in a meeting to reach an agreement on how to start the voting. There are also reports of the extraction of barcodes of wrong voters. And you quite remember that all voters who were put on special voters list or register, we gave instruction to the district electoral officers to deactivate or disable the barcodes of all voters on the special voters list. Unfortunately, some of our officers, in an attempt to deactivate the barcode of those put on special voters list, mistakenly deactivated the barcode of other voters. So the measure that we have taken is that immediately this challenge actually comes, we look at the page in the register of that particular polling station where that voter's barcode was deactivated, and this message is sent to the IT department. The page is mailed, that's the soft copy of the page is mailed to the regional director, who prints it and then send it to the polling station for the presiding officer to initiate the process for the voter to vote. So this is in relation to wrong deactivating of the barcode of other voters. We also have the situation where we have different polling station setups, which is giving rise to some sort of little confusions at some of the polling stations. And if you look at the polling station setup, the district officer can increase the number of screens as well as the number of the ballot issuers to facilitate the process. And the last but not the least, there is an inbuilt mechanism in the sense that once you get to the polling station at 5 o'clock, no matter how long the queue is, all voters in the queue before 5 o'clock or at 5 o'clock will be given the opportunity to do what? To cast their vote. Then we have actually not had any problem or reports of breakdown of the biometric verification device. There are some clear processes with it. For every 4 hours, the instruction is that the batteries are to be changed. If presiding officers go strictly by this, we don't actually hope to get any problem with the BVDs. And currently, we haven't actually had reports on that. First of all, you check your name on the register. If on register, the fingerprint will be scanned. If first fingerprint scan fails, all 10 fingers will be scanned, as explained by the chairperson yesterday. If this one fails, you try this. If this one fails, you try that. If all the 10 fingers fail, then it means that you will have to use the manual verification form, which will be filled by the presiding officer. So, in a nutshell, form, as indicated or explained by the chair yesterday. We have had some reports of inadequate manual verification form in the Northern region, and we have instructed district officers nationwide to make photocopies of any form which they think they are running short of. All forms are adequate. With the manual verification form, we used some percentage. We didn't anticipate a lot of people to go through the manual verification form, and we didn't also want to abuse the system, hence printing little quantities of the manual verification form. However, in areas where there are indications of a possible shortage, district officers have been instructed to make photocopies. We have also had reports from the regions on the issue of accreditation cards to political party agents, and as you are aware, in our previous IPAC meetings, we have told political parties to submit their agents or their candidates agents list for the commission to print cards for them. Some of them did, others didn't. Even this morning, we even had lists from some candidates or political parties. And how do we print when you send such a list to us this morning? However, we have asked our district officers to give them official letters from the district officer to allow them to have access to the polling stations to represent the interest of their parties or candidates. So basically, I think this is supposed to be a very short briefing, and as I said, voting started at 7 o'clock. Notwithstanding certain particular challenges, most of the challenges have been solved in Greater Accra. Those areas which actually started late, those without other materials, we have actually supplied them, and voting is going on smoothly in all the polling stations across the nation. The only exception, I think, is that of German, which the political parties are in talks to have the voting process take off. We will let you know in our subsequent briefings on the state of voting at German. If it takes off, the most important thing is to increase the number of voting screens, increase the number of ballot switches, and then increase the number of materials that actually we need to facilitate their voting. So in a nutshell, this is briefly on the state of the voting today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Director Electoral Services, Mr. Samuel. So we'll now call for questions from the media. You raise your hand. When you are allowed, you mention your name and the media house. Thank you. Do you have another mic there?
It's good that you didn't say it. It's very good. You have fun. You run out. Yeah. I think we knew the implications of the environment.
Hello. Okay. I'm Sandra Ofosudeon from First Digital TV. Some voters came to the headquarters here, and their complaint was that their names were found on the list of dead voters. There were about 5 of them women. How have you resolved that issue? Thank you.
Dead voters, yeah.
There's saving you. There's nothing like that. There's nothing like that.
My name is Sextus. I work with CTFM. We are getting reports that at some polling stations in Asutifi North, the list of transferred voters are not available, and so those who have transferred their votes to some of the polling stations there are unable to cast their votes. Has this come to the attention of the Commission, and how are you resolving that?
You've mentioned a number of irregularities. On a scale of 1 to 10, if 1 being normal irregularities that one would expect in any election, 10 being irregularities that make the result in question and the whole election in question, what would you say the irregularities that we've seen this morning, how do they rank?
0.5.
0.5.
My name is Nana. There have been reports from the Eastern region that some of the ballot papers have been laminated. I don't know whether that's come to your notice. And then some also complained that the special voting when they went
ballot papers laminated.
Today they went and they said they already casted their votes. Has it come to your notice? Thank you.
Well, Director of Labor Services to answer.
Don't give the 0.5, but it's to be expected.
Okay, I will start from the special voters list. Some of the questions Eric will take. What we said, and in our press release, all those who were put on the special voters list are to have their barcodes deactivated. So it is like the main voting today. If you don't go to vote,